We welcome you to Newark, Delaware, the site for the CAA championship game. For the first time since 2005, the Delaware Blue Hens playing host to the CAA title game, looking to go back-to-back as it is a picture-perfect afternoon for this CAA title. On one side, you have Stony Brook, a team that is looking to make history, winning their first ever CAA championship in their first ever season in this conference. On the other side, the Blue Hens, the defending champs, looking to go back-to-back and become the first team to do that since 2017 when the Towson Tigers went back-to-back in this conference tournament. And with that, we welcome you alongside the PLL All-Star, Marcus Holman. I'm Travis Eldridge. Marcus, a terrific afternoon for a championship game.
Beautiful day here on the East Coast, and we're excited for one of 6 conference championships here today on this Saturday.
So let's take a look at our players to watch, and we'll start on the Stony Brook side of things. Dylan Palinetti shut out in the goal-scoring department for the first time in his career in the semifinals.
The first time in his career. Wow, incredible. You know, coming as a junior, this kid's a playmaker. He's a dynamic lefty scorer. He takes, over 10 shots a game for this Stony Brook offense. So you know Delaware's going to be queuing on him. If he can rack up some points today, this Stony Brook offense is very, very dangerous.
For Delaware, we'll keep our eye on Ty Kurtz, another guy who was quiet in the semifinals, but has been one of the best players in the country this season.
No doubt. And Palinetti for Stony Brook and Kurtz for Delaware, are mano a mano at that position in the CAA conference. You saw Palinetti in 2021 was the player of the year. This year, Ty Kurtz, player of the year. The righty from Canada is a great goal scorer. You talk about the greats that have come through this Delaware program. He's definitely one of them, but he's 1 for 9 shooting in his past 2 games. So if he can get going today for Delaware, they can score 15, 16 goals easily.
Remember, it was in the championship game last year that Ty Kurtz went off for 6 goals in the win over Towson. He'll look to make some magic once again in this year's title game. And we are just about set for opening faceoff once again. It's Declan Mitchell taking the draws here for Stony Brook with the injury to Renz Conlon, who had been the primary faceoff guy for a good portion of the season. On the other side is Roland Hockenberry for Delaware, and it's Hockenberry who will get the opening face-off, and Delaware goes to work offensively for the first time today.
Yeah, and the face-off X for Stony Brook was actually a really bright spot on their win, in their win Thursday night against Drexel. So we'll see if they can match that energy. Obviously, not off to a great start here, jumping on the first one, but Delaware will take first possession here today.
And we look at this potent Delaware offense. Came into this weekend 10th in the country, nearly 15 goals per game. Led at the attack unit by J.P. Ward, Ty Kurtz, and Mike Robinson. It's the midfield starting to attack, as it's Nick Jessen, Jason Kohler, and Cam Accioni, the starting midfield here today for this championship game for the Blue Hens, as Ward draws the matchup with Sean Conk. Ward turned back. Now Kurtz moves it along. Long-range shot, and it's Jamison McLaughlin who comes up with an early stop.
Starting this game off right where he left off Thursday night, had 15 saves in their semifinal win. He was a big, big key to the Stony Brook defense.
You got a whistle as an offside call on Stony Brook. It took a little while to get it over midfield.
They might push here. They might have numbers. And we'll see this Delaware offense. They do a great job of playing together. I think they have one of the most balanced attack units in the country. We mentioned Ty Kurtz as a righty shooter, but you have J.P. Ward at X who can finish with both hands, and then you have a great lefty scorer in Mike Robinson. As you see, just a little sloppy with the passing there, and they'll turn it over back to Stony Brook.
So we'll see if Stony Brook can clear this and get their first offensive possession. The regular season meeting between these two, pretty good one, 12-9 Delaware win. Actually, Stony Brook has the all-time series lead in this matchup, 7-3 all-time. Though that meeting earlier this year, the first time the two had met as conference foes, Stony Brook's first season in the CAA.
And this is, Delaware gets a lot of press, rightfully so, because of their NCAA tournament win last year, but Stony Brook's offense is just as potent. They score 13, 14 goals a game as you see Palinetti hit the crossbar.
Oh my goodness, that thing shook the net as it deflects all the way back onto the other side of midfield. However, it's okay because it hit the net. It means it reset the shot clock all the way to 80 for Stony Brook because it went over midfield, gives them that first 20 seconds to be able to go back and forth.
No doubt.
So Blake Balin will give it a try now as he lines up a dodge. And the short stick for Delaware with a great play. I think that was Jason Sider. It was. Ball on the turf now. Owen Grant, the All-American candidate at defense, helps push it along, and it's picked up by Tate Wasson.
And a great back-of-the-head slide by Delaware. That's what they did really, really well in the second half against Towson on Thursday. They just upped the pressure. Their slides were more aggressive. And their defense is really what won them the game on Thursday, holding Towson to just 8 goals.
Yeah, offensively, it wasn't one of their sharpest performances of the season, but they did enough in the 11-8 win over the Tigers in the semifinal. Ward has his man hung up. Quarterback of this Delaware offense gets inside, dives across, and it'll count.
Wow.
J.P. Ward with the Blue Hens' first goal, and it's 1-0.
And a crease dive here to get us going in the CAA championship. J.P. Ward taking his man up to the island, using his size, right? You see a nice defensive battle here, but he's able to leave his feet and dive kind of adjacent to that crease, right? Remember, we brought that rule back into NCAA Division I a couple years ago after being outlawed for a while, and it leads to exciting plays like that.
Christian Loud picks up the ground ball for the face-off win for Stony Brook. Loud had a great game in the semifinal win over Drexel back on Thursday night. One of the best LSMs in this league. That ball's, though, out of bounds, and it's going Delaware's way.
You gave him the announcer jinx, Travis. As soon as you praise him, he gets stripped on the sideline.
Stony Brook has really only had that one possession so far, heavily Delaware on this offensive side of the field for the first 5 minutes of this game. Kohler trying to feed inside. It skirts all the way through. Ward is there. And now it's Ty Kurtz. He's dangerous. He's got that backhand flip we've seen a number of times in his career. Instead, he's turned back, and he goes back behind a Ward.
Yeah, and it looks like Stony Brook's electing to put a short stick on Kurtz, forcing him to be a little bit more of a dodger. He's a goal scorer, right? He's not the most shifty, dynamic dodger, but wow.
Great feed. He's got
Ward
Kohler on the backside, and Jason Kohler has the second. It's 2-0 Blue Hens.
And there's the guy that is really the best dodger for this Delaware attack. It's J.P. Ward. Just challenging his matchup, right? Getting to that dangerous spot as he leans his shoulder in. And what I love about him is he's two-handed, right? He's able to make that feed with his right hand to protect it from the defense, and Kohler in the right place for the quick stick dunk.
Assist for Ward, who's already got a couple of points. Came into today with 70 points in this regular in the season so far. He got up to 70 in the semifinal win.
And I've made the allusion before to a professional player and an NCAA all-time great attackman in Logan Wisnauskas. I think Ward has so many similarities to him, just his balance, his ability to score and feed and kind of quarterback this Delaware offense.
Kurtz had his step, kicks it over to Robinson, who skips it across. Ball's really starting to fly around here for Delaware, and Right on cue, it finds the turf. There's a push in the battle for the ground ball. It gives it to Stony Brook.
I was just thinking the same thing, too, about the ball really humming on the offensive end. And, of course, you said leads to a turnover.
Chinks left and right here in this first quarter. 2-0 Delaware lead. CAA championship game. Blue Hens looking to win their second straight title for the first time in their program history since 2010, 2011. It's also the last two titles the Blue Hens had won prior to last year. Looking to win their first ever title here in their home field. The only other one they had hosted as Kilkiri comes up with a stop was back in 2005, and in that one they lost in the championship game. Robinson has it. He'll settle it down outside the box as the first midfield comes back on for the Blue Hens.
Yep, you're going to see a heavy dose of this midfield unit. Kohler, Accioni, Clay Miller, all great feeding midfielders. They play really well off ball. They're not huge stretch shooters, 15-yard guys, but they're sneaky and they feed really well.
It is not a huge, imposing midfield for Delaware, but they are sneaky and fast as Jessen gets by his man and shoots wide. Strong take here, and another one falls for Delaware. It's Accioni, the junior Canadian, who slides one in to make it 3-0.
Accioni had a nice night on Thursday. He had a couple of assists and a goal. The righty Canadian, you've got him and Kurtz running that two-man game on the righty wing. Delaware going kind of with the pairs look to start this game off. And you could see Accioni just with some nifty footwork. He's able to put that stick back in his strong right hand to the middle of the field. And Delaware's got a 3-0 lead out of the gates early.
And Stony Brook coach Anthony Gallardi wants a timeout. He pauses it around the midway point of this opening quarter. A strong start for Delaware, 3-0 in the CAA championship game on Lacrosse TV. We welcome you back here to Delaware Stadium. A reminder, don't miss Lacrosse TV's coverage of the MIAA High School Lacrosse. You can tune in Tuesday, watch St. Mary's versus Severn. Game time set for 4 p.m. Eastern. Some of the highest level lacrosse in the country at the high school level. Dozens of D1 commits. The MIAA live on Lacrosse TV. Marcus, I know that's a league that you know very well.
Very well. Actually coaching for my alma mater, Gilman, in the MIAA, and man, I can tell you it's chock full of Division I talent, and it's certainly fun on Tuesdays and Fridays in the spring in the Baltimore and Annapolis area. Some great lacrosse being played at the high school level. Speaking
of the MIAA, JP Ward, proud McDonough alum. Another great MIAA program is off the face-off win. Stony Brook has it go out of bounds, and let's see.
Looks like a flag. Yeah. They're gonna get Delaware for a push right off the face-off.
Robbie Smith and Logan Premtage out there. Two new face-off guys for that last draw. And we will see this Stony Brook man-up unit for the first time today. 38% on the season. Though nothing.
Noah Armitage, Travis, comes into this game 6 man-up goals. Number 16.
He's been terrific. But both of these man-down units have been great this year. Both top 4 in the country in man-down. However, right on cue, it's Stony Brook getting on the board. Right there on the near pipe, it's Blake Balin who's got the first one for the Seawolves.
And Delaware elected to go with the shutoff, right? They're shutting off Dylan Palinetti, deciding to play 5-on-4. And Stony Brook just does a nice job wheeling here, right? Carry in your zone with your stick up, your eyes up. Matt Anderson on the feed and Balin on the finish. Nice execution by Stony Brook, and that's big out of a timeout. You give yourself momentum. Nice timeout by Coach Gallardi.
Hockenberry back in for that face-off. He wins it forward. Big hit. That draws a flag. And with Michael Sabella picks it up, we will get our first man up opportunity for Delaware here
A little
today.
bit of a clothesline action there on Kurtz. I'm not quite sure who the defenseman was that got his stick kind of underneath his gloves and then just jackhammered him to the ground.
Christian Loud.
Yeah, Loud going hard. Back-to-back penalties now.
Delaware's man-up unit, 50%, tied for 7th in the country coming into this weekend. Got guys that can really finish on this unit. As that's a big stop by McLaughlin. Great feed, but a better save.
Huge stop. McLaughlin just staying big inside. I think that was Clay Miller just slicing down the pipe there. Didn't look like he was able to change levels on his shot and just kind of stuffed it right into McLaughlin's stick.
And that'll bring us back to even strength. It was just a 30-second penalty. So another stop for the Seawolves man down unit that came into this tournament, came into today, 84% on the season, stopping the opponent's man up. First in the country.
And it's huge because a team like Stony Brook is going to be physical and probably foul 4 or 5 times. If you can be, have that presence, that physicality to your defense, but then not allow goals on the man down, it allows you to kind of play with an attitude, if you will, to your defense.
Here's Palinetti. He's already got one post. This time he finds the back of the net. A laser as he's on the board for the first time in this tournament.
Palinetti doing what he does best. And this is why this kid down the road is going to be a pro. That's about 15 yards sweeping across the middle of the field. And look at the location on this shot. Pulls it back to that far side off hip of Kilcarry, and it's got some juice on it. We saw him hit the crossbar and blow the goal back off its hinges earlier. Palinetti with a snipe.
And we've got a flag. I believe that's all. Is that already the 3rd violation?
I know he jumped the first one. I don't remember they're having another one, but the refs probably know better than we do, Travis.
Yeah, it is a face-off violation on Stony Brook. So that means not only on this one, but every ensuing violation on the Seawolves in the rest of this first half will be a man-up situation for Delaware.
Yeah, that's tough. That puts you in a little bit of a pickle there at the face-off. And again, that is a weak point of this Stony Brook team. Coach Gallardi even admitted that to us this week on his coach's call, but now they give this vaunted Delaware unit another shot. Look out.
It's Ty Kurtz winding it up. And Kurtz and Robinson there at the top of this box on this man up. JP Ward.
Pick your poison from those two. Both have range from 13, 14 yards.
This is Kurtz. He winds and fires. It's a man-up goal for Delaware. They cash in to make it 4-2.
So our 2021 and 2021 and 2023 CAA Offensive Player of the Years are just dueling it out right now. Palinetti down the other end. And then you see Kurtz here, right? I just like the change of pace. He kind of jogs into it to keep the defense at bay. Gets to his spot and then delivers a bullseye.
It was almost kind of nonchalant how he went about it, as there's a face-off win on a great ground ball by Delaware. Joe Spears circling for that one. Chance to go back up by 3. Ends the 2-goal Stony Brook run that cut this game to a 1-goal game as we tick toward 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
Yep, and we'll keep tabs on that face-off statistic as the game continues to go, because I just think if Stony Brook has to play so much defense against Delaware, it's going to be tough.
Step down shot, McLaughlin with a big stop, but the rebound stays alive for Ward. Here's Robinson. He's got that angle. And the backup will stay with Delaware. The saves reset the shot clock to 60, so plenty of time for the Blue Hens still to attack.
This is a good matchup to watch. Sabella on JP Ward.
Ward with the backhand.
Wow.
Already with a pair of goals in this opening quarter.
And both of them coming, you know, there was a little bit of pick interference behind the cage, but this is essentially just a one-on-one. And Ward had got up to the island and rolled back and crease dove earlier. This one, he just decides to beat Sabella to the spot with the backhand dive. And he's winning that matchup.
And the boys at the sideline are loving it. By the way, Renz Conlon active for today's game. He took that last face-off for Stony Brook, and now he wins one. Conlon all the way in. Kilkiri comes up with the stop.
Big stop by Kilkiri. And there's Owen Grant, the vacuum, just picking up the ground ball. No rebound attempt for Stony Brook. And just doesn't seem like Stony Brook has had a lot of offensive possessions. Because they really haven't. They've been pretty efficient when they've had it down that end, but it's been a lot of Delaware early on in this first quarter.
Yeah, it's been heavily slanted to this end of the field in terms of time of possession. Ward gets a pick. Now he's got a mismatch. He's got a short stick on him.
Yep, got to slide to this.
Draws some attention. Moved along. Step down shot. Robinson off McLaughlin. Might have gotten a piece of the bar, too. Ryer Shell keeps it alive off that high rebound. And another shot clock reset.
Yeah, really good offense from Delaware there. And McLaughlin all over it with a big-time save.
Inside, Ward has it poked away. Sabella with the ground ball. Now he's trying to get out of some trouble, and he's able to. McLaughlin the outlet.
Nice job by Sabella there. Right, those are the ground balls that you try to emulate in practice if you're a coach, right? Putting your defenseman under those stressful, you know, situations. He had 2 or 3 guys all over him. He's able to escape, put that stick to the sideline, roll away. And a clean clear for Stony Brook.
Remember, this Stony Brook team can't go on a run. We saw one of their best maybe ever when they went on a 10-goal run in the first half of the win over Drexel in the semifinals.
Yeah, that was very impressive. I don't think I've witnessed any 10-goal runs this spring.
Nifty little around the back pass by Will Button.
I like it. He's feeling it. Good defense. Little trail check there by Delaware after being beat off that initial dodge. Kind of a one last hurrah there on the trail check. Puts the ball in the turf. Delaware clears. Delaware's had success with this pairs offense, kind of sweeping to the middle of the field and finding their shooters.
Robinson had a good look.
Yep, and you have Robinson on that left side. You've got Kurtz on that right side. So it's a very balanced offense. And then you have Ward behind off of end lines. He's been running those big littles and finding success in his own matchups.
Just options all over the place. Here's Accione. He's already got one. Jessen. Still 23 seconds on this shot clock. Jessen working against the short stick. Tough angle, and he pays the price.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure McLaughlin got a piece of that. Or it hit the pipe, and that's going to be a reset for Delaware. That's big because now they can essentially run this down and try and close the quarter out with the ball in this offensive end unless they want to go fast.
Already a 5-goal first quarter for Delaware. Ty Kurtz has it.
Big save, McLaughlin.
McLaughlin standing tall already with 5 saves in this first quarter.
Yeah, just on the back line there, keeping Stony Brook in it right now because Delaware is essentially having their way with drawing double teams, finding open step down shooters. But to win in these playoff games, you're going to need a championship performance. Maybe McLaughlin has one in him today.
Stony Brook has to hurry. They're down to just over 10 seconds left. Anderson sweep it across. Armitage looking for the skip pass. It's intercepted. Rebound scooped up by Owen Grant. And that is how this opening quarter will end. So Delaware, the defending CAA champs, off to a strong start. They lead 5-2 the CAA championship game on Lacrosse TV. The CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship is brought to you by UNCW's Cameron School of Business, providing students with the business education they need to succeed. Visit uncw.edu/CSB today. And by the B1 patch from buyb1.com. Don't compete without it. Head coach Ben DeLuca looking for his second straight CAA championship as the head man here for Delaware, the CAA Coach of the Year this season, as his team went 6-1 in the conference, following up a championship season a year ago, and a season where they went all the way to the NCAA quarterfinals after upsetting Georgetown. And, you know, whether it's Stony Brook or Delaware, Marcus, both of these teams look like they could give a top seed some trouble in the opening round once again.
No doubt, and it's something we mentioned on Thursday night, just kind of the history of CAA championship winners in the NCAA tournament, you know, ranging back to 2016, 2017, when Towson made their run to the Final Four. It just seems like the winner of this conference, you know, is always going to be on upset alert, no matter what seed they play, even if they're, you know, in the play-in game like Delaware was last year, where they had to beat Robert Morris in the play-in game to actually go and play Georgetown. So it'll be interesting to see if the winner here gets to play a seeded team or they have to play in the play-in game. But
so we got a flag down.
Either way, it'll be dangerous.
Yeah, it looks like it's a trip as Anthony Gallardi's team will go man down once again. We mentioned they've been really good with their man-down unit this year, but you go man-down too many times against this Delaware unit that's one of the best in the country, it usually spells trouble.
No doubt. Delaware coming into this game over 50%, and that's going to get you up there in the NCAA rankings. You know, if you're, I would say a pretty good average for a man-up unit is about 45, so this group is excellent.
Already one man up goal today.
Nice ground ball there by number 55, Sean Conk. I think Kurt's just a little bit too cute on that feed to the crease. And a big stop and clear by Stony Brook.
And so man down unit continues to be pretty good.
Yeah.
They can now kill off the rest of this 1-minute penalty.
Yep, and the story of the first quarter, I think, was just time of possession, right, Travis? You look at the shots, Delaware up to 16, Stony Brook with only 6. You know, and that's a product of just having the ball for longer extended possessions. McLaughlin holding his own for Stony Brook with 5 saves in the cage. But I think they need some more possessions here. They need to find that second level of their offense.
Here's Balin. He'll start to run.
Would like to see them look inside or maybe work with Jonathan Huber on some 2-man games. He had 5 goals on Thursday night, the lefty shooter. More of a crafty off-ball player. Good pressure from Delaware. As the shot clock will run out, Delaware will take over possession. And their defense just kind of picking up right where they left off. Towson got out to a 3-0 start against Delaware on Thursday night. And after that flurry, they held Towson scoreless or just to 5 goals over 3 quarters.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that defensive performance on Thursday was a big part of that win.
Got Kurtz on a shorty on this wing. See if they can get him the ball off some movement here. Ooh. Big shot off the cross there. You can hear it.
Nice move there right around midfield. Get over the midfield stripe. Now Palinetti's already
Look
got
out.
today. Shoots on the run wide.
That's why I love Palinetti. He is he's a shooter. And he's going to get to the rack, whether it's in the flow of the offense or just NBA style where I'm going to square you up and run at you. And he knows this day and this moment is huge for him and this Stony Brook program. Right? Sometimes the tendency in championship games, because you're so excited, is you want to play calm. Ooh.
Oh, a laser from Armitage. First team All-CAA midfielder, and he's got Stony Brook back within 2.
Armitage with the hammer on the lefty shot. What I was saying is sometimes you try to over calm yourself down, but you have to be aggressive in championship games. You've got to go and take it. All right. And Stony Brook does a really nice job there getting the ball to Armitage. He's able to swivel his hips around and just bury that top right corner.
Once again, Renz Conlon taking this face-off. And credit to him at the face-off position. He has not jumped since that first face-off violation. So Stony Brook has avoided going man down here for about a half a quarter, when every violation from here on out in this first half, it's going to be a penalty.
Yep, and is getting a lot of help from his wings, right? You saw Sean Conk there, junior defenseman, number 55. Christian Loud is awesome at the LSM position. So those guys are catalysts for Stony Brook, you know, if those face-off guys aren't just going to win it themselves.
We've got a timeout here on the field. We'll keep it here as just under 11 minutes to go in this first half. You mentioned Delaware's history with last season winning the CAA title, but this is a special one for this program because it's the first time since 2005 they've had a chance to host this tournament, despite the fact last couple of years they've been the top seed going in. Because of the COVID year and having to reshuffle some things, the conference decided to go to predetermined sites for this tournament. So a couple of years ago, they had to go to Hofstra. Actually ended up getting upset in the semifinals. Last year when they won it, it was at Drexel. So for the first time in this run under head coach Ben DeLuca, them being the top seed is paid off as they having the opportunity to host the tournament. Big crowd on hand here at Delaware Stadium, and a beautiful day, 70, sunny. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better opportunity for this program to show off what they've got here.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a great day for lacrosse up and down the East Coast. I mentioned in our beginning session that there are 6 conference champions that are going to be crowned today. You know, and I think this Delaware program, you know, Coach DeLuca has said this is what we've been building for since he got here, you know, and has taken over this program and really revamped the culture of Delaware, you know, putting them atop the CAA and year in and year out, and here just trying to stake their claim as the kings of the conference 2 years in a row. And, you know, they've got a tough Stony Brook team here that's going to give them everything they have for sure. The newcomers, the new kids on the block aren't going to back down easy.
Yeah, you mentioned the other conference championship games. Bryant winning is their first year in the America East. They win a thriller, Stony Brook's old conference. They win a thriller double overtime over UAlbany to punch their ticket back to the dance. And Marist, the winner of the MAC championship earlier today. So 2 tickets punched, a couple more still to go throughout the day here on Saturday. Palinetti moves it along. Good movement here by Stony Brook on offense, and they get one. Anderson with his first of the day.
That is the Stony Brook offense. that we're used to seeing. This group can score with the best of them. Kind of just playing that 3-second role. It's Palinetti that kickstarts it, and he's such a threat to score. You have to kind of slide and help over, right? You can see, I love it when teammates reward the guy that party started for them, right? He gets the hockey assist for Stony Brook there. Really good team offense.
And it's Conlon who wins another faceoff. Did not play in that semifinal back on Thursday, despite the fact that Justin Joseph, the Drexel faceoff man, has ended up having actually a pretty great game, but Stony Brook able to neutralize it enough, and especially in that early run, to be able to hold off the Dragons. Now Conlon is starting to make that more of a strength for Stony Brook.
Absolutely. And exactly what Coach Ghilardi wanted, right? We talked about kind of time of possession. You know, this quarter, it's been all Stony Brook.
Gotten us back to a 1-goal game.
Delaware can run, too. They've got great poles that can handle. Nice save by Kilkeary.
Ty Kurtz corrals it.
Right. Good job by Stony Brook getting back in the initial transition rush, but now you've got to defend the sub game. Kind of this secondary layer of transition. You see that Delaware short stick midi posted up on the crease. Look for him to maybe set an up pick to see if they can get a Stony Brook guy trapped on the field.
JP Ward has it behind the cage. Blue Hens still looking for their first goal of the second quarter.
The only problem with that running those substitution patterns is it just eats away at your time of possession, you know, regarding the shot clock for your offense. So, you know, Delaware now initiates with 30 seconds and they're already down to 12 as Kurtz takes a shot, gets a reset.
Here's Accioni dodging from the wing. This is his specialty. He draws a flag as he loses his helmet on the hit.
Michael Sabella is not afraid to bring the hammer. The senior from Long Island is as tough as they come. And you do not want him sliding to you. And I actually think that's a clean hit. Like, Accioni initiates with his head down. There's no helmet to helmet. Sabella's low. I don't know. I'm not sure that's deserving of a penalty. Just because the guy's helmet comes off doesn't mean it's an automatic penalty. Just my thoughts.
No, that's fair. The cross check came right around that chest area. And I certainly do think the helmet coming off probably increases the likelihood of a flag.
No doubt. And I am totally with the player safety, but from our vantage point in the replay, Accioni was the one that kind of like leaned into the hit. You know, and this is a championship game, and Delaware's back on the man up now.
Also, they're both 5'9". Sometimes you see it being unlucky because the defender's just a lot taller, but they're actually both the same height. It's Kurtz shoots just wide.
Kurtz has gotten a couple good looks with his hands free. Canned one earlier on the man up.
Oh, great look down on the doorstep. He's got Ward.
JP Ward, man, is gunning for CAA tournament MVP. He had 3 and 1 on Thursday night. He's got 3 today. And I mentioned Logan Wisnauskas as like a pro comparison, but I also think Eric Law, the way that he is just so good on the pipes with both hands. He doesn't shoot the ball outside of 5-6 yards a lot. He's always in the right spot. Very smart player, you can tell. Delaware scores again on their man up.
It's a violation actually on the Blue Hens, so Stony Brook ball.
Watch, look at the pressure.
Anderson running out of trouble.
Travis, it seemed like the foul on Sabella might have been non-releasable. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
You could tell Delaware being aggressive off that faceoff, trying to double team.
It's another about 10 seconds left on that penalty, so Stony Brook can run the rest of this off and get things back to even strength.
Yeah, still another faceoff win and a very timely one at that for Stony Brook.
Yeah, that's gigantic. Boy, the opportunity for Delaware to come back down and get another. Now we're back to even. Palinetti, still 30 seconds left on this shot clock. Passes across. Armitage, the stop by Kilkiri. Juicy rebound. I think we got a loose ball push. We do.
It looked like that. I wonder, did I see a bounce pass from Palinetti there? You think that was on purpose or the ball got kind of dislodged from his stick? Either way, ended up to his target, but Kilkiri stands strong.
First midfield unit back on for Delaware. Accioni, Jessen, Kohler. There's Kurtz, another big stop by Jamison McLaughlin, but Kurtz able to help get it back. Stony Brook's looking for a flag. They don't get it. Delaware back in on offense.
Great hustle by Kurtz on the rebound there. Just kind of threw like a hip check. It
That's what I was going to say.
Sabella, right? And no call there from the refs. I try to teach young players that you can use your hips to box out guys instead of extending your arms. If you extend your arms on loose balls like that, the refs are going to call loose ball pushes every single time. So savvy play by the Canadian. Probably learned that in the box rink.
Yeah, maybe in a hockey rink somewhere too, as Robinson has that one saved. Another shot clock reset. It's about the third on this possession. Actually, that one did not reset the clock. Must have hit somebody on its way in. This is Jessen.
Look out.
Kurtz, all sorts of time and room. Save. He was screened as well.
Sabella, I think, was trying to just hold his ground on the near side pipe. Like kind of in the cage.
I mean,
but McLaughlin gets a save and Stony Brook clears. I mean, Delaware is definitely getting their opportunities. 24 shots now to Stony Brook's 11. McLaughlin standing strong in cage.
Yeah, there aren't many guys that make the stop when Ty Kurtz is stepping into a shot from about 7 yards out. But that is an impressive stop right there.
Absolutely. And the fact, too, that earlier in the possession, he dropped his hands low and went low to low. McLaughlin got a piece of that. This time he tried to bring it back up top, and McLaughlin was all over it as well.
Palinetti trying to get the hand free. Slides it past Kilkiri. Palinetti's second of this first half, and it's back to a one-goal game.
Sunny day out here in Delaware, but Dylan Palinetti has brought the twister into the building. You see driving up to the lefty island, put that stick in his right hand, and to increase his angle coming back down towards the pipe, he'll bring his hands across his left shoulder and snap that ball low. Again, showing why he's Stony Brook's best offensive player.
Now just one shy of 50 goals on the season.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is quite a few. Conlon wins the faceoff. Now he's looking for an outlet.
I was thinking maybe a timeout there for Stony Brook if he touched it in.
Oh, man. Look out. Conlon all the way in. Kilkiri makes this stop, and now it's Delaware short stick D-Mitty Sider who makes the play.
Bodies are flying. Pace of this game is starting to heat up a little bit as we move closer to halftime.
You know, it has been a pretty settled game so far. We haven't seen a lot of transition. Delaware is a team that is good in transition. You see it with Owen Grant, 7 goals this season, but they've played a lot of settled 6-on-6 so far in this first half. On the run, jump shot. My goodness. Jason Kohler with some heat.
Kohler, the bench mafia loves it. And you mentioned the kind of settled half-field game of Delaware as their sideline goes wild. But this is what they do really well. That's Owen Grant setting a pick with an offensive midfielder. Stony Brook doesn't play it very well, and that gives Kohler the lane to just go down the alley and hit the lefty jumper, looking like Kyle Harrison, 2005. Big goal for Delaware.
Up over 20 goals now in the season for the sophomore from Maryland.
And that is, there are pros and cons to kind of running that sub game I mentioned earlier, right? It can eat into your shot clock for your settled offense, but if you consistently do it for a game, right, it's just hard to defend. Those offensive middies don't get a lot of reps playing on the 6-on-6 defensive end during practice during the week. It's something that you have to prepare for as a coach, which is frustrating and kind of annoying. So Delaware stuck to it. It didn't work early against Towson on Thursday, but they stayed with it and scored in transition and off the sub, just like they did there.
Ball moving around for Stony Brook. It was deflected on its way to Palinetti, who collects it at X. This is quite the matchup, Palinetti and Owen Grant. A couple of guys who may see play at the next level.
Absolutely. Great matchup.
Grant already a first-round NLL draft pick. May see him drafted next week in the PLL as well. 3-time CAA Defensive Player of the Year, number 81 in white. Palinetti, hand free, way high.
Stony Brook's moving the ball, I feel like, much better in this quarter. They've obviously scored more goals. You see Grant just giving it to him a little bit, right? I love it. Wow, great ball movement. Kukiri shuts the door. Stony Brook offense is definitely clicking, right? That's what they've done all season long, putting up an average of almost 13 goals a game, and Kukiri there just on the doorstep shut them down.
Kokiri's save numbers, not crazy throughout the year, but had double-digit saves in the semifinal win, and is that kind of guy, just does enough. He makes the stops you need him to.
Yeah, he's just steady Eddie. It's not going to be crazy, but you mentioned it. He makes the saves he's supposed to, and maybe he'll steal one or two. And you, as a coach, you like that consistency from your keeper.
Robinson, I think, was close to getting a piece of that bar. That one sailed just over. Good skip pass from Ty Kurtz.
These offenses are fun to watch, huh, Travis? Both, I would say top 10 in the country, honestly. Just the way they move the ball and their spacing.
Ward. Now Accioni's got a cutter. Kurtz has it stopped by Jamison McLaughlin.
Goalies have their hands full, and they're doing a nice job.
Long outlet pass. I was trying to find Christian Loud. Instead, it finds the stick of Delaware.
Got a foul call there. Maybe couldn't quite catch what that was. Maybe an offsides or a loose ball push. Stony Brook now can hold for one shot. I think they still have a timeout remaining, so we'll see if maybe they run the clock down and then take a timeout to draw up a play, or if they just let their unit.
Palinetti's the guy you want to make that decision.
Yep, you got Huber here, the other lefty coming out to set a pick. No, he's not. Big possession here if Stony Brook can get one. Huge momentum goal. Yokiri closes the door. Palinetti trying to come up the hash and take his probably best shot, but Delaware has some time.
Sider tries to move it across, and that brings this first half to an end. So, an entertaining one. Delaware hangs 5 in the first quarter, held to 2 in the second, but they lead by 2 at halftime of the CAA championship game. Trying to go back-to-back for the first time since 2010, as this team is 30 minutes away from their second straight CAA title. It's halftime, though, here from Delaware Stadium. We'll be back in a bit for the third quarter, but for now, it's halftime, 7-5, Delaware in the lead. We welcome you back to a beautiful Saturday afternoon at Delaware Stadium, the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship. Delaware, the Blue Hens, with a 7-5 lead as we get ready to start this second half. Travis Eldridge, Marcus Holman back with you. And Marcus, we saw the offenses, and we talk about the offenses coming in, but both goalies standing tall in this opening 30 minutes. Matt Kilcarry for Delaware and Jamison McLaughlin for Stony Brook.
Well, we knew with the firepower on both of these offenses that there were going to be shots and quality shots, and both of these goalies have answered the bell. Kilcarry for Delaware, you see him gobble up a couple of Palinetti's looks, and then McLaughlin had one possession where he stuffed Ty Kurtz twice. So those guys are holding it down. They're doing their jobs as the back line of defense, and we'll see kind of how they continue to heat up or maybe go cold here in the second half.
Both guys over 50% in that first half. Kilcarry 7 saves, McLaughlin with 9.
And you look at, the stats for, at least for Delaware, between their two big shooters in Kurtz and Robinson on the right and left side, just 1 goal on 13 shots. JP Ward, obviously with the hat trick, is kind of pacing them offensively. And then for Stony Brook, Palinetti with 2 and a handful of other guys with just 1. So balanced scoring across the board. Nice defense from Delaware. Again, Delaware has just set the tone with their defense in these past 2 games, going back to Thursday night versus Towson.
They get a stop here to start this second half. The 2-goal advantage, looking to go back-to-back. Blue Hens looking to go back-to-back titles for the first time since 2010, 2011.
See what any adjustments the coaches have made offensively or defensively. I like how Delaware has gone to that pairs look.
Robinson and McLaughlin kicks it out, but the rebound. Accioni, right place, right time. He's got his second.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Accioni, probably one of the smallest guys out there. But the Canadian background, he's a box lacrosse player, just is able to snag that rebound, throw a little twister, and bury the rock. Right? Box lacrosse, there's so many more ground ball opportunities because the ball hits the boards if you miss the cage, kind of like that. Accioni putting his skill on display there.
Off the face-off, it'll go Stony Brook's way as they find themselves back down by 3.
And their face-off unit's been in a little bit of a groove as well. After jumping 3 in the first quarter, you were a little bit worried about how they might fare, but they've answered the bell, and they've given Stony Brook a lot of possessions from the second quarter on.
Anderson moves it along. Shot just high for Palinetti. Coming from the corner, this is Will Button. Had a nice game in the semifinal as he shoots high. Haven't said Jonathan Huber's name much so far here today after the 5 goals he scored against Drexel in the semifinal.
I feel like with a guy like that, obviously Delaware's, that he was maybe, other than Palinetti, was one of the focal points of the scouting report. So it doesn't seem like they're really sliding off of him, giving him those open opportunities he had Thursday night.
Palinetti's dive is stopped. It's Owen Grant who picks up the ground ball. He's pressured by Palinetti. Squirts loose, but into the stick here at Delaware, and it'll be a clear for the Blue Hens and another chance here on offense.
See Owen Grant at the bottom of your screen. We'll see what kind of sub games Delaware decides to run here. Remember, he set a great pick for Kohler coming downhill that led immediately to a goal, and here he is again trying to set another one.
He's also a big body to have to deal with as a defender.
Got him stuck. They have a quick numbers advantage here.
Here we go. The fake, and now they go over to the right side. It just came out of the stick there of Kohler. He wanted that shot badly. He was lining it up.
Sometimes you're just shooting those before you actually catch them. Nice job again by Delaware winning that substitution matchup, but just not able to finalize the pieces of the puzzle there. Kohler with a little bit of a flop on that ground ball too. Didn't get the call.
This is Caleb Pearson. He scored a goal in the semifinal. Part of the kind of rotating number of second midfielders Stony Brook will throw in there. By the way, Christian Loud, the long stick, is still on the field here as well. This is 5-on-5 essentially.
Yep. And that's another subbing strategy, right? Instead of setting a pick with that guy, you kind of just hang out. You play 5-on-5. You allow more space for your Dodgers.
Palinetti's pass just a little high.
Owen Grant with a little standover there over Palinetti. Those two, definitely a little extracurricular action going on between Owen Grant and Dylan Palinetti. Two great competitors, two of the best at their positions. You love seeing that in the championship matchup.
Yeah, you got two great guys going at it. Brendan Powers, the freshman, taking his time with it. All CAA rookie team performer this year.
Now you got the switch on Ward. Got to slide to this if you're Stony Brook. We'll see if Ward becomes a feeder.
Trying to back down his man, JP. Now he moves it along back to Powers. He's got Robinson, who extra pass back out top to Kurtz.
Rarely do you see Robinson pass off those step downs, but unselfish offense, sharing it, getting good scoring opportunities for Delaware.
Down to 18 seconds on this shot clock. Robinson back down to the top of the box. Shoots right-handed. McLaughlin with the stop. Quick outlet out there to Dan Newton. Now Button, who will settle things down a bit here for Stony Brook.
Just really haven't been any easy goals on these keeps today, as McLaughlin now is in double digits with 10 saves.
3 straight games with double-digit saves coming into this tournament. Blake Balin, he's had a great tournament all weekend long. Now to Button, looking for Armitage inside. He had him and just kind of handcuffed him with the pass.
Great cut.
And that comes back over midfield.
Just couldn't connect there. Delaware back to their stack substitution look.
Nick Jessen waiting for the sub to come on. He had a step at Gioni, but good recovery by Stony Brook. Dane Rita.
Yep, so it's
getting back.
They're kind of like a 3-stage offense, right? It's the subbing, then they'll play out of that pairs look. And then eventually, if nothing going, right, they'll go into this big little with JP Ward and one of the middies who has a short stick. So you can tell these guys have great chemistry playing together, very in sync.
Coming back across, Robinson with the right again. He did it on Thursday night. The lefty does it again here today.
Very rare, but he's been working on it. Coach Ben DeLuca mentioned, Robinson missed a couple games this season with an injury, and he just said they were so glad to have him back. He's one of the hardest workers on the team, just a guy that does everything right for them, practices so hard, and you can see, right, going to his weak hand, making a play there in a championship game, that's a juice goal for Delaware.
Robinson with 53 goals a season ago, and you mentioned the time he missed, just now up to 13 games in this season. And it hasn't been the season that maybe some expected from Robinson, but when you have all the different pieces on offense, you didn't need it. But you still have that in your arsenal if you're Delaware, a guy that scored 50-plus goals in a season.
Yeah, and it's interesting, just to see, how the production will change a little bit now that he's back fully healthy and in the lineup. Does his production drop a little bit? Maybe, but these are team guys, and they want nothing more than to bring Delaware back to a Final Four.
And great hustle by Kilkiri to get the backup.
Huge backup there by Kilkiri. Selling out, little dive out action.
Your favorite.
We love that.
And we actually have a flag down. I didn't see that before, so unfortunately for Kilkiri, the effort doesn't really get him anything. Just a style dive.
Maybe might get noticed in film.
Oh, there's the hit. It's on Sider.
Yeah.
Coming up high.
Delaware going back to the shutoff on Palinetti. Stony Brook scored on their only man up earlier.
Great Huber got a good look, but Kilkiri's up to the challenge.
Low to low. Would have liked to see him maybe try and bring that ball back up top, drop his hands low and shoot it high. Kilkiri makes a nice read and big stop. Keeps that momentum on Delaware's side, right? You get a foul, Stony Brook scores there, they cut it to 3. But with the stop and now potential to score and put this lead to 5, it's a big possession here for both teams.
Yeah, Stony Brook has been held off the scoreboard in this third quarter so far. Almost 9 minutes in. Delaware just going to run off the rest of this penalty, get us back to even strength as he finds the side of the cage.
Mom and dad goal. Crowd liked it.
Crowd, especially when it's on the far side. Really can fool even the smartest lacrosse parents.
That's right.
So Stony Brook, as we're back to even strength, trying to cut into this lead again.
Let's see if they can get the ball to Palinetti here. Hasn't had the ball in his stick too much in this quarter.
Anderson. See if Anderson can get something going.
Ooh.
Great dodger, but he has just been...
Not against Owen Grant.
No. Not the guy you want to take on. Button.
Here we go.
Now, Palinetti. He's got a short stick on him. Spins back to the right. Now he tries to get back to the left. Picks up the ground ball down to the doorstep. What a look to find Will Button. And Stony Brook does get one back here in the third.
They don't ask how. They ask how many, right? When you're talking about points. And Dylan Palinetti has racked up a lot of them, mainly as a goal scorer, right? And even though he gets stripped, the ball's on the ground. It's a great hustle play, picking it up, feeding to the pipe with his weak hand. And a nice job by Will Button just being Johnny on the spot there, finishing on the pipe.
Interesting move here. This is Joe Spears, the long stick, taking the face off for Delaware. Renz Conlon just has no problem with it. But this is what you do. You make it difficult for him to keep the possession. Spears all over Conlon. Now he's double teamed, and it goes out of bounds, and I'll be off Stony Brook. Unless they got a timeout.
Maybe a timeout.
Oh, no, flag. Sorry, we got another flag down. I think they might have gotten Spears as he was hounding Conlon.
Yeah, I'm going to guess a slash.
Yep. Actually, they got it on J.P. Ward.
Huh. The fans don't like it here in Delaware.
So Stony Brook man up here again. Can they claw their way back into this game? Trailing by 3. Got a man as Palinetti. He just lost it.
Tough turnover for Stony Brook there.
He was ready to shoot it before he caught it.
Yeah, that was like similar to Kohler down this end for Delaware in that sub game.
It's a 1-minute slash on Delaware, so they can run out the rest of this penalty. Just over 10 more seconds before we're back to even strength. They'll still have 30+ on this shot clock.
Plenty of time to run a good offensive set here.
Ward to Robinson. Good ball movement as Kurtz is on the far wing.
Look
back
out.
Up top, step down, shot to score for Nick Jessen. His first of the day, and Delaware's back up 4.
Great patience there by the Delaware offense. Killing out the penalty, obviously. Getting your guys on the field. Kurtz draws 2. And Jessen steps to the middle of the field. And you absolutely love this as a midi. Dead center, 12 yards with no one in your hands. He's like, I'll take that all day. Buries it.
Jessen up to 15 goals in the year. Once again, Spears the long stick out there, and Conlon has no problem winning it. Stony Brook will take the timeout as Spears was hounding Conlon again. Anthony Gallardi pauses it as he'll keep the possession. We'll pause it as well. Delaware 10-6 lead over Stony Brook here in the 3rd. The Women's Collegiate Lacrosse Organization hosting its championship in Round Rock, Texas. And you can see both semifinals and title game live right here on Lacrosse TV. You'll see teams like the #1 seed Loyola Maryland, Binghamton University, Salisbury, and Marist. The semis air Thursday, 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. And the championship game airs at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Friday. It's the WCLO on Lacrosse TV. Back here at Delaware Stadium, CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship. Delaware with the lead over Stony Brook. Seawolves here in their first season in the conference. The school already has one CAA title in lacrosse. The women's team winning the championship, running away from Towson in the women's championship game earlier today. So Stony Brook looking to be the first school since 2016 here in the CAA to win both men's and women's championships in the same year. But they've got some work to do with 3:25 to go in the 3rd.
I'm guessing that was Towson in 2016?
It was. That is correct.
Towson Tigers. My brother-in-law, Michael Lynch, alumni. My mom, an alumnus of Towson. So,
yeah, they've got quite the men's and women's lacrosse programs there for the Tigers. As Anderson gets downhill, Kilkiri with the stop. And Kilkiri coming out with it.
Look out.
Oh, Palinetti lays the lumber. Oh, and Grant brings it over midfield. Gets it to Sider and out of the offense. Matt Kilkiri paid the price on that one.
Winning championships, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you something. And for him, it's going to be obviously a couple bruises from some shots, but maybe some sore ribs from taking a hit there.
Back to work for Delaware. Accioni. Now Jessen toward the top of the box. He just scored. Jessen has that shot high. J.P. Ward already with a hat trick. 2 games in this tournament, both first half hat tricks for Ward. Robinson with the left hand, but it's a better stave by J-Mo McLaughlin.
Goalie battle in full effect here. Just going back and forth with great saves.
Both guys in double figures now.
Robinson just a little bit off balance on that shot. I think he was trying to slide down from the top portion of the offensive end and just I don't think he got everything that he wanted to. But either way, a nice save by McLaughlin. Stony Brook, big possession here.
They could use a goal, trying to claw their way back in before the start of the fourth. Taking toward a minute to go in the third quarter. Noah Armitage sends it behind. Back out top, Pearson. Now Palinetti. Working against Lynch. Button gives it up. Pearson dodges the short stick. Another stop by Kilkiri. He's seeing it really well.
Yep. And that was deep, right? I mean, not an extremely tough save, but had to slide to his kind of off hip. Now Delaware has a chance to score as we wind down the third.
Yeah, plenty of time. Kohler and Jessen signaling. This is Jessen, high wing. Ward rolls inside, and it got a piece of the post. The run out will stay with Jessen. Just a couple of seconds left to go, and he's got to send it in front, and a flag comes flying.
That's big. Gonna call an interference there.
And this is huge for a couple of different things, including Delaware just holds on to this.
Yeah, they'll have the ball to start the fourth, and they'll be man up. Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you avoid the face-off, which has been such an issue for them.
Yeah.
So this is the dream scenario for the Blue Hens. Likely saves them a possession. So Robinson will hold on to it, and that will bring us to the end of this third quarter. So 15 minutes to go. Delaware 15 minutes away from their second straight CAA title. Fourth quarter on the other side on Lacrosse TV. We welcome you back here to Delaware Stadium, and the Stony Brook men's team is maybe getting a boost because the Stony Brook women's team that just won the championship in the women's tournament down in Towson, Maryland, has made the trip here to Delaware on their way back, and they're cheering the men's team on. This is awesome, Marcus.
You absolutely love to see that. I was actually listening in during the commercial break, and I was like hearing these chants of like, let's go blue, and I just assumed it was the Delaware fans, but I looked at the jerseys and Stony Brook's in blue. I was like, dang, there's a huge Stony Brook contingent here. So kudos to the girls for being out here supporting the men, and They're going to need a big fourth quarter here to pull this off.
Yeah, about 45-minute drive, and it's on your way back, so they stop in, jump in the bus, and they can continue their celebration, hoping that their men's team can claw their way back. But it's Delaware who starts with the possession with the 4-goal lead here in the fourth. Man-up opportunity as Accioni has it stopped by McLaughlin.
McLaughlin's going to be the key. He's going to be the key. He's going to need about maybe 4 or 5 more to keep Delaware under 12, 13 goals. And they're going to need their offense to get humming.
Saw them score 10 consecutive goals in the first half of the semifinals against Drexel. They're going to need that kind of offensive efficiency here as they trail by 4, 14 minutes to play in this title game.
Yep, you're going to need quality possessions, share the ball like they have been, right? I like Anderson initiating here, drawing 2, moving it on.
Here is Anderson, sends it behind, extra pass, Palinetti just wide.
And that's a great formula right there. I mean, you can't replicate it on every possession, but you end up with the ball in your best shooter stick on the backside.
Good take by Button off the screen. He's got a short stick matchup. Big hit by Lynch. Came in to help out. Kevin Lynch, one of the leaders of this defensive unit.
Ooh. Used to call that the hammer slide, just sliding adjacent from the top down. It's almost like a free slide if your offensive player doesn't get out of the way, and Lynch taking full advantage of the hammer slide.
And Marcus, you've spoken about it in this game. The positive for Stony Brook is they try to come back is the fact that they've had a pretty good advantage at the face-off X.
Yep.
However, the pace of this game really makes every offensive possession from here on out that much more important.
It does, and you have to expect the way that the Delaware offense is playing, which is not a lot of turnovers, getting great looks.
Oh, there it is. Diving across is J.P. Ward for his 4th.
What I was going to say is you have to expect that Delaware is going to score at least 2 to 3 more goals here. So they get it going there. J.P. Ward, right? If the game ended right now, would get my vote for CAA tournament MVP. Just really controlling his matchup, controlling X for Delaware. And Sabella just gets hung up there on a bad angle, and J.P. Ward, again, his ability to turn the corner with both hands is what makes him a very special player.
Renz Conlon continues to do his part at the faceoff X, another faceoff win. Loud ends up with it. Does have a couple of goals this year, but Delaware just locking everybody else off. Now they finally get it to Palinetti, and the offense can set things up.
Yeah, that definitely had to work for that possession.
That's the thing that Delaware actually has done a pretty good job of, is finding ways to muck it up, not give Stony Brook easy goals or easy possessions off of these face-off wins.
Ooh,
good defensive collapse.
Another slide from Lynch. Just Palinetti kind of out on the wing, and Lynch able to help out. Collapse down, pick up a ground ball. And the Delaware defense just locking in here.
Honestly, this is a very similar recipe to how we saw him beat Towson.
Yeah, just aggressive double teams, and actually putting the ball on the ground, not just having shot clock violations or, saves all the time. They're actually taking the ball away from these offenses.
On the run, Chesson, he's got Kurtz kicked out. But the backup there for Delaware, so they keep the possession and with a fresh shot clock.
14 saves now for McLaughlin.
It's a big game again from JMO. Accioni coming across.
Look out.
Floats it across, and there's Robinson with the left. So we've seen him score twice with the right in this tournament. That right there is his bread and butter.
Delaware has looked very comfortable in this pairs offense, sweeping over the top, setting some screens on the backside, and it's the two-headed monster. You have Robinson on the left side, you got Kurtz on the right side. They both get shots on that possession. McLaughlin able to turn away Kurtz, but just too much water and the dam is going to break, and it's breaking now for Stony Brook.
You know what that reminded me of, Marcus? Your good buddy Will Manny, how he just kind of floated there to find the opening, gave him a spot to put it, and then he finishes.
Yep, just that kind of three-quarter sidearm release. Catch it in stride.
That is the third violation on Delaware at the faceoff X. So Hockenberry goes to the box for 30 seconds. Something to keep an eye on if Stony Brook can start to get a couple in a row, is that every one of those violations for the rest of this game will be a penalty on Delaware. The big possession for Stony Brook. You want to get back into this thing. Button down low, Huber.
Oh, great look. Huber 0 for 4 on the day after a 5-goal Thursday night. I like how Delaware's playing this. They're semi-shutting Palinetti.
Anderson shoots wide.
The short stick Harrison Ewing, but he's kind of snapping back in and helping out. It's just kind of an awkward thing to deal with as a man-up unit.
Here's Palinetti.
Look out.
Left hand, and he goes top shelf. Oh, my goodness, it's his third.
Got to get him going. Let him heat up. Sweeps to his money spot, that left-handed sweep, and this is just bar down. Very similar to a CAA player from a couple years ago, Ryan Tierney from Hofstra, right? The way that they just love to sweep and they can get, I mean, that's 14 yards. There's so much velocity on that shot. Kilkiri doesn't even have a chance.
Yeah, that was a great comparison. Very similar. That very similar dodge. How many times we see Ryan Tierney make that shot? They got sticks flying everywhere, and this will be Stony Brook ball off the face-off.
I mean,
there we go.
They haven't lost a face-off, it seems, since the second quarter.
I mean, as soon as Renz Conlon came in and started taking face-offs for him, he's 14 of 16 on the day at the face-off end.
Wow. Jeez. Domination.
Shows you just how much Stony Brook has missed him. Anderson gets free, just wide.
Good offense. They're getting what they want right now.
Stony Brook inverting here with Sean Carlo, the freshman. Now back out top, Palinetti's got that matchup with Grant. Now a double team comes. He beats both of them and just high.
I was going to say, oh, man, that would have been great.
That was one of those, I don't care who's coming at me, I'm taking this shot.
I'm going. And it's funny, too, like we mentioned the Ryan Tierney thing, just everybody knew it was coming, but you still couldn't stop it,
This is Anderson, but Kilkiri makes that stop.
Uh-oh. Got numbers, too.
Trying to get up and out. Kurtz gives it up. Trailer. Grant has it stopped.
Stony Brook's going to have numbers, too, if they pick it up. Huge ground ball. They're going to have numbers here.
This is Sabella. Back the other way. Quickly ahead. And now it's back to Palinetti.
Someone's open.
A lot of blue jerseys still trying to come onto the field.
Seemed like sometimes when you give up those transition opportunities. Look out, Palinetti's going.
Just goes one-on-one, and Kilkiri has the stop.
I like it, though. I like it.
Yeah.
Best player trying to make a play.
Nearing the midway point of this fourth quarter, knowing you're down by 5, you could use a quick one.
Time becomes a factor now, too, right? Just Delaware can take their time, long possessions. Probably don't want to take a shot unless it's under 20 or so seconds. Doesn't mean you take your foot off the gas, but just want to be smart, patient. Easier said than done, honestly.
Yeah, you run through your sets and you wait and see when you get a good look. Like this one from Ty Kurtz. Skying for number 2.
Air Kurtz. He's like, can you guys stop talking about us holding the ball? I'm trying to get to the rack, please. Nice little hesitation here. And then that moment of truth, right? I'm going to take off. I'm going to take a check. Beautiful. Nice finish from the Canadian. Delaware's all-time leading goals and point scorer.
Another guy that got picked in the NLL draft, and I think we may see that a whole bunch of times in the indoor game coming up next winter. Another face-off win for Conlon.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Rance Conlon, have yourself a day.
I love it. He's hyped. Let's go. All right, catch your breath. We got to win like 5 more.
I mean, what
Great
a performance. Effort. He's been banged up here for the second half of the CAA slate. They were hoping maybe with a miracle they get him ready for Thursday. Obviously, I'm sure he wanted to play, and he gets cleared here, and he is putting on an incredible performance at the Face-Off X today.
Yeah, just Delaware does not have an answer.
No, he just is. It's automatic. I mean, he looks like Greg Gorenlian out there. Delaware has thrown 5 different guys at the Face-Off X now. And Conlon still has lost only 2. Carlo on the run. He holds on to it.
You can hear the Stony Brook women's team loud and
very vocal as Button just missed it. Palinetti's brings it back in from the corner. About 30 seconds left on this shot clock.
Look at that, giving them the shot clock warnings and everything. That's great teamwork there by Stony Brook.
You can tell why they're an elite team as Palinetti loses his stick. Oh, and Grant, I think, was involved once again.
Awesome slide there from Delaware.
Now the Blue Hens can really start to taste it. 5:40 to go. Eyeing up a return trip to the NCAA tournament, their second straight CAA title.
Yep, and they're going to have to earn it and grind through it. They won last year's championship in dominating fashion, semifinal and final.
Yeah, they were. That was really when they started to peak, and we then saw that, how they won in the play-in game and then went on down to DC and knocked off 2C Georgetown.
Good patience here, right? Now you're under that 20-second mark. Kurtz again, going to get a double team.
Trying Maybe to get inside. Does it count?
Yes, sir.
Or is he in? No, he was in.
Oh!
They got him on the takeoff that he stepped in the crease.
Hard to see, obviously, without the replay, but McLaughlin did a little bit better job there of just being aggressive and kind of attacking Kurtz on the takeoff. But obviously in the crease, Stony Brook lives to fight another possession. Might have numbers here on the sub game.
Balin gives it up.
Got Loud inside with the long pole. He's got a sub off. Yep, there he goes.
Here comes Palinetti.
Look out.
Trying to make something happen, and he does. He's got 4 today.
Professional range from Dylan Palinetti, the junior. Again, 15 yards. Right? You know it's coming, and you still can't stop it. Sweeps to the left this time. Wisely just sets his feet. Some traffic there, and look at the location. Right off of Kilkiri's left foot for that bottom right corner. That's literally the farthest spot away from his stick. Palinetti really putting Stony Brook on his back right now.
Yeah, we've got a timeout for Delaware as they want to talk things over. Stony Brook not going away yet. So this Blue Hens program trying to go back-to-back here in the CAA for the first time since Towson did it back during the 2016 and 17 seasons. Actually, Towson had won 3 in a row from 2015 to 2017. Last time we had a repeat champion in this conference, Delaware becoming the 4th different team to win in the last 4 years last year. But this Blue Hens program, Marcus, came in with all sorts of expectations coming off the quarterfinal run last year. And at times it has been bumpy this year again, just kind of similar to what we saw last year at times. But it feels as though they know exactly who they are and they are playing their best lacrosse at the right time.
For sure. And you know, for me as an outsider, right, you just look at that huddle and feel how they're connected, right? And I think that stems from the culture. You got to give major props to Coach Ben DeLuca, right? A guy that comes from Cornell, a storied lacrosse tradition, you know, was the coach there, you know, a winning program, and he's brought that mindset to Delaware. And coming into this year, they had a target on their backs, right? Everybody knew, you know, they weren't going to be an easy out and, you know, struggled out of conference, but you know, here they are with, you know, a 4-goal lead with under 4 minutes left, and you know, it's looking good for the Blue Hens, but they have no answer for this guy.
Renz Conlon wins another face-off. He loses it, though, headed toward the sideline. He dives. Somehow that ball stayed in, and Delaware has it. It's been Delaware's only hope to get the possession back off these face-offs is just hopefully get it out of his stick.
Might be a shot here.
Kilkiri with a long pass ahead. He can't find Ward, so it's a turnover caused by Stony Brook.
Nice job by Stony Brook hopping into the 10-man ride. Push it here if you got numbers.
Loud has it taken away by Grant. Over to the head check.
It's like as soon as you think like you forget about Owen Grant, he just pops up and puts the ball on the ground, I feel like.
I mean, he continues to show you why he's one of the great defensemen in the country. He should be an All-American, I would think, this year.
Yeah.
Guy now the first ever 3-time winner of Defensive Player of the Year here in the CAA. I mean, remember, he was winning Defensive Player of the Year when you had Kobe Smith at Towson.
Yeah.
And he's now playing professionally. He's pretty darn good, the pro
Very
game.
impressive. And seeing some of the checks he throws, man, hope I don't have to go up against him this summer.
Yeah, good luck. I think you got some sway with your coaching staff. Their way to pick him up for the Cannons?
We'll see.
Down to the final 2:30. Delaware just content to take some time off this clock as this possession goes down to the final 10 seconds on the shot clock. Ward across. Oh, just high for Chesson. He almost had him. It'll be a shot clock violation on Delaware.
Pretty look from JP Ward, man. I would have just tied a nice little ribbon. on this championship performance, but Stony Brook ball, right? You never know. You got to play these championship games out. We've seen crazier things happen.
This is Dan Newton with the pole.
You go quick if you're Stony Brook, though.
Yeah, this is Anderson. Carlo trying to go downhill. Armitage up over the bar. Carlo has the backup. Delaware fans can start to feel it. Carlo to Armitage. She'd saved by Kilkiri.
There it is. Kilkiri padding his stats. Now up to 14 saves on the day. Delaware just so solid. You know, you think about the team. Obviously, the face-off X is glaring. At least today it was, coming into the season around 50%, right? So that, if you could point to a weakness on this team, might be it. But other than that, man, they're, again, seem to be playing some really good lacrosse. I've just been impressed with their defense the past 2 games. Going against an offense like Stony Brook and keeping them to 9 goals is no small feat.
No, I mean, that was, once again, just like they did in the CAA semis, holding Towson to single digits, holding the Stony Brook team to single digits here at the moment. As for the Seawolves, I mean, for them, just the opportunity to play in a conference tournament after they would have qualified, as that one goes in for Anderson, or excuse me, for Balin for his second.
Yeah, you got to give them props, right? I mean, they've worked hard to put themselves in this position. Big win on Thursday night, and just not enough today offensively for them to just get the job done. I think they struggled at times as well with the pairs look that Delaware went with, as Delaware takes a timeout.
Ben DeLuca just a couple of seconds away from winning this title, but to the point with Stony Brook, I mean, they would have qualified for the Americas tournament last year. However, they were ineligible because they were making this move as an athletic department to the CAA. Heartbreaking for the kids. You talked to Anthony Gallardi about that for Stony Brook about last year, and it's almost heartbreaking to hear him have to remember that time and how hard it was during practice to get the guys to work when they knew, like, there's no way we're playing in the postseason.
Yeah.
Even down the stretch, no matter how many games they won.
That's like your worst nightmare as a coach is, when there's no hope there, how do you motivate your kids day in and day out? So you got to give them props coming into this tough conference and battling their way to the championship, just coming up a little bit short. But with Coach Gallardi at the helm, this is a program I think that's going to make some noise in the CAA. He's very familiar with it, right? Took Towson to a Final Four in 2017 as the offensive coordinator there, and he knows the ins and outs of the CAA. So as they become more familiar with personnel, Stony Brook's definitely a team to keep your eye on, especially with Palinetti coming back for his senior year. I mean, don't put anything past that kid.
Yeah, 50 goals this season for Dylan Palinetti, including 4 here today. And with 21 seconds left, face-off that actually is won by Delaware, and now they can run out the clock. Ty Kurtz has it.
I gotta say that face-off hit the ref right in the back. So
whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes is right.
And once again, Delaware, the kings of the CAA, the Blue Hens go back-to-back. They win it 13-10, and they are headed back to the NCAA tournament.
Coach DeLuca, you can see him there, fired up, has done such a great job with this program and this culture, and a rightfully earned 2023 CAA championship for the Delaware Blue Hens.
And they've got the trophy to celebrate. What a moment for this program. They go back-to-back for the first time since 2010 and 2011. And for the first time ever, they win this title on their home field here at Delaware Stadium.
Going to have to put a curfew in effect tonight for these young men. Back-to-back conference champions. And honestly, a team to be reckoned with in the NCAA tournament. Wherever they land, whether it's the play-in game, which honestly I think Delaware, with their record and the way that they won, I think they should be a team that gets into the bracket and has to go on the road. You know, maybe they travel down to Maryland. Wherever it is, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they will take all comers like we saw last year when they won in the play-in game and went and beat Georgetown in the opening round. But that is for tomorrow to figure out where they're going to play. For now, they are celebrating as CAA champs. Your final score, Delaware 13, Stony Brook 10. Well, we're going to step aside here. We still got our Jersey Mike's play of the game as well as some awards to hand out. But for now, we step aside. Delaware, your CAA champs in 2023. We welcome you back here to Delaware Stadium, where head coach Ben DeLuca and the Blue Hens are celebrating as back-to-back CAA champs. They go back-to-back as they win the conference title here on their home field for the first time ever. Travis Eldridge and Marcus Holman back to wrap things up here from Delaware Stadium. An impressive performance by the Blue Hens here today as they really just handled Towson and Stony Brook in back-to-back games here Thursday and Saturday. And the team is going to come celebrate with the fans on the near side. An awesome moment that all these guys will remember forever.
Love it. Giving their fans some props. Fired up. They battled a Stony Brook team that was excited to play and giving everything they had, and they battled the Stony Brook women's team that showed up to help and support. But I just think of the word balanced when I think about this performance this weekend. Thursday night, you know, they come out and Towson jumps on them 3-0 early, and you know, you think, whoa, is Towson going to handle us again after beating us last Saturday? And Delaware just steady Eddie. Just kept getting better defensively, aggressive, pushing in transition, scoring in the sub game. JP Ward controlling his matchups from X. So, you know, just a great conference season for Delaware. And I think this team is still hungry. I think they're hungry to make some noise in the big dance.
All right, well, it's time for today's sub above play of the game presented by Jersey Mike's. And there are a lot of big goals scored by both teams today, but, I mean, look no further than what J.P. Ward did for Delaware, as our play of the game is his fourth and final one.
Yep, J.P. Ward just kind of owning his matchup today against Michael Sabella for Stony Brook. They're just taking a better angle, laying out, putting his body on the line, and really just cementing himself as Delaware's elite ex-attackman.
J.P. Ward gets today's sub-above play of the game presented by Jersey Mike's. Now, the pictures are well underway for this group here for Delaware as they continue to celebrate in front of their fans here on their home field. Just an awesome moment as Marcus, this brings it to an end for us. It was a fun run here and another great competitive tournament in this conference that's always so much fun to be a part of.
Absolutely. I think the toughness of the CAA has finally been matched with its skill. You're seeing guys that are going to play professional at the next level and kids that are taking this game very seriously. And again, a conference that whichever team wins it, this year being Delaware, is going to make some noise in the NCAA tournament.
Well, they'll wait the selection show tomorrow, see what their fate for the NCAA tournament will be. But for now, they celebrate their second straight CAA title. And for us, we will say goodbye A big thank you to everybody in the CAA for having us be part of this championship season for another year. It was another spectacular season, and a huge thank you to the administrators, Commissioner Joe D'Antonio, and all the coaches that give us so much time to prepare for these games throughout this season. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. For our entire crew, Marcus Holman, I'm Travis Eldridge. We say so long from Delaware Stadium, where the Blue Hens are celebrating their second straight CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship. They're winners over Stony Brook in 2023.